What's going on, folks? So I got an album thoughts video for you here today. Going to be talking about the new latest album from Palantír. The name of this album is Chasing a Dream. Before I get into anything else, I love to look at the cover. So look at that. Look at that cover. Oh, that's a great cover if I ever seen one. I love it. You got that like cybernetic human or android being kind of sitting there up on some rocks. It looks like overlooking an industrial kind of city down there. It looks like there's really not much left of the land. I don't know if this is Earth or whatever, but not much left of the land. It looks kind of a very dark landscape down there, and you just see this industrial kind of looking city with the flames coming out, the smokestacks or what have you. And then up above, you just see this orb of just beautiful nature with the mountains and the trees and the green and then, life, like there's a deer or the blue sky and the clouds and everything like that, as if, reflecting on something that once was but now is lost, and all you're left with is just this wasteland, or just this very steampunk kind of industrial world. I dig it. And the water is kind of falling out of it, like almost as if some of the old is bleeding in with the new. I really don't know, but it just looks so cool. And I think it definitely gives off the vibes of what you're going to get, especially with the way that the name, the text, the Palantírs arranged, or what's the word I'm looking for crying out loud, designed, maybe is what I was looking for. Just looks really cool. Definitely, I think, gives off the vibes of what you can expect on the album. I think you look at this and you're going to be getting a power metal or a symphonic metal maybe style album. So I dig it. I dig that cover. Really, really cool. So A+ on that. Now let's get into the album itself. There's 8 songs, comes in at about 46 minutes. Great length of time. Great, concise album. No filler here. Everything, just fits together in this nice, neat package. But so yeah, there's 8 songs, and just a general overview of the sound you're going to get here. This is straight power metal, classic style power metal, from what I personally consider to be the golden age of power metal. Many may disagree. I think it all kind of just depends on when each person started getting into power metal, what they grew up with, or all that kind of stuff. But for me, the golden age of power metal is the late 90s up to about 2010 or so. So the 2000s pretty much is really the sweet spot. That's when I really started getting into power metal, and the sound of that time is still some of my favorite, power metal. There's a lot of stuff I love from before that, a lot of stuff I love from after that. Something about that time, the late 90s to about 2010 or so, the albums from that time, the sound, the style of the power metal, it's just really, I have a soft spot for that. It's some of my favorites. So for me, that is my golden age of power metal. And this sound, this album falls squarely into that style, into that sound. It's not as much of the more modern sounding or the real old style heavy metal, power metal. It's in that 2000s style. It's got a lot of neoclassical influences here with the guitar work and the piano work. You just get a lot of driving and rhythmic guitars and sweeping piano and keyboard melodies and solos and things like that. It's just a very fast-moving and intricate, again, heavily neoclassical style sounding, and a very interesting production, like a very interesting, almost theatrical feel at times. You know, I really get that this album, it seems to have a lot to do with a kind of inner turmoil almost. It's just the sense you get. You know, there are certain songs that evoke a sense of madness, you know, fighting within oneself and one's own mind, feeling of being trapped, or, you know, what you would become if you just kind of let loose. But then you also have other songs that have much more of a hopeful sound, and you know, very melodic sounds that you get here. A lot of the melodies and the choruses and stuff like that, very catchy, very, very nice to listen to. Right when it starts off with track 1, Chasing a Dream, I mean, you get some real like kind of edgy guitar work going, and then the first vocals that you get in this whole thing is just a splendid, a wondrous power metal scream. So that just sets the mood right off the bat that you know you're going to get some good stuff. Second track, Queen of the Moon, really kind of emphasizes that neoclassical feel. If you didn't already get that sense, this one really hits it home with a lot of piano work and keys and just the really nice guitar work. For me personally, those two songs, I really, really like them, but they almost feel like the warm-up to the real good stuff. I feel like the album really takes off with track 3, Astral Prison. Really starts off with some kind of crazy maniacal laughter and chattering almost. Really good to have headphones on for that, because they do a great job of kind of getting it swinging back and forth, you know, between each ear, and the way they design that sound is just fantastic. I highly recommend wearing headphones. It's particularly for that song, but so you really get that sense, and this one's kind of like one of those songs where it evokes a sense of madness, or you know, that inner turmoil, and it's a real driven song. It's just really, really great. And then after that, you get Among the Stars, which is track 4, and that's much more of a hopeful expedition kind of sounding song. You know, with the name Among the Stars, you really kind of get that sense, but it has a grand kind of feel to it, a real journey kind of sense. Again, a much more hopeful feel, because Astral Prison, it's much more of an ominous, darker tone to it. Then you get track 5, The Beast Within, which is another one that's kind of like in the head, kind of darker. And then, you know, the rest is, you know, follow a similar format. Where I Belong, track 7, is another more melodic, hopeful feeling song. But it's just a really, really cool album. Really, really great to listen to the whole thing in one go, because the different moods and feelings that you get throughout, it's just done really, really well. Each song is just crafted quite nicely to give you the certain sense or feel that they're really going for. You know, and again, just the neoclassical, the musicianship is top notch here. The guitar work is just phenomenal. The keys and piano, phenomenal. The vocals, absolutely phenomenal. Dude's got a range. He doesn't shy away from the power metal screams, so obviously I love that. And he keeps up with the music very well, because there's a lot of changes in the feel and the, you know, the mood and the tempo and all that of the songs. A lot of them are just really ripping through, and he keeps up very well. His voice just fits perfectly in, you know, with the rest of the puzzle, and it just all comes together to create, just like I said, a real, you know, mid-2000s sounding power metal album with a lot of neoclassical influences, a lot of great melodies, just fantastical guitar and keyboard work here, awesome vocals, with a lot of different feelings and emotions throughout. And again, it's a perfect amount of time. Nothing feels like filler. It all just kind of goes through, and it feels it. And I know I'm explaining a lot of different types of emotions and whatnot and feelings, but it all fits in nicely. Nothing is too jarring, you know? So it's just really, really a fun listen. This really took me by surprise because, to be honest, before this album, I've never heard of this band before, but I checked this out and I was not disappointed. It really kind of took me by surprise. This easily is going to be in there for a top contender for album of the month. I'm already telling you that right now. It's just top notch. Really enjoyed it. Not really getting symphonies or orchestras here, much more guitar and keyboard driven. I just want to get that out there, but just really, really great. There's a lot of different influences you can hear, you know, in this album. Like, you know, I get a little bit of Stradivarius almost, at times even some classic Darkmoor kind of sound. Just a lot of little influences that you hear, but they also have their own style, and a lot of that is in the songwriting. So the songwriting is just top notch with the lyrics and the music and the melodies. It just all works very well. So that's why I really have nothing bad to say about this thing. It's just really, really good. I think I've said pretty much all that needs to be said about it. And if I were to give you one song to check out, if you're like, I only want to give this album one chance with one song, and that one song has to win me over, otherwise I'm not listening to the album. Personally, I would say go with The Beast Within. This might be my favorite track. If not, it's up there. I have several actually that I really, really like that I've saved it for a playlist for later. Many of the songs, I think 5 out of the 8 songs, I was like, that's playlist worthy. So really, really great stuff. But The Beast Within, I think, captures the everything about the album and what makes it special in one song. You get the neoclassical vibes, the incredible guitar work and keyboard work and vocals, and it's also one of those songs that has kind of their signature on this album, kind of dark, kind of, you know, mind game, you know, internal struggle, madness kind of sense to it. So that's what I recommend if you're just going to hear one song. Listen to The Beast Within, and I think that will get you to listen to the album. Power metal fans, I can't recommend this enough. I really think you should take a listen to it because you won't be disappointed. I dug it big time. Really great stuff. So that's Palantír with their latest album, Chasing a Dream. They're not chasing a dream. They've achieved a dream, in my opinion, because this album is just great. You know, they don't need to chase anymore. They have reached it. So, hey, that's what I got to say. Let me know in the comments below if you've listened to this album. What did you think of it? If you haven't heard it yet, give it a listen, and let's talk about it. So that's what I got for you today, and I'll catch you all next time. Ranger, out.